Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I wanted to make a video of Frost Mage Holy Paladin in 2v2 versus a Boomkin and a Holy Pally. This was a pretty freaking epic matchup, and I want to make a quick disclaimer. We fought these guys before and they beat us. We fight them here in this game, and it's a very close nail-biting match. As you see in the end, it actually goes into a 1v1 for a little bit there. But I don't think we can beat these guys every time. These guys are my friends, and I'm not trying to talk bad about them or anything. But anyway, so this video, I kind of wanted to make a part 2 to a video I did like a week or two ago, talking about how damage isn't everything in Arena, and that I think I titled the video, why PvE damage doesn't matter in Arena, or something like that. And what I talked about in that video is that the CC, the control, the burst is kind of what, controls an Arena match, and it's not just about your damage, but when you do the damage. And that is very true, especially for 3v3 and especially for setup comps when you're playing, Windwalker Mage or Rogue Mage or something like that. By the way, I'm playing Glacial Spike and Splitting Ice in this match, just so you guys know what spec I'm playing. But anyway, when you're playing like Shadow Priest Mage, Boomy Mage, or Warlock Mage, this type of spell cleave 3v3 comp, damage is more relevant, but it's still about those setups. Maybe a Silence, or a Beam, or a Cyclone, or a Hajj, or a Sheep. Any type of CC with the burst is more important than that damage. So what I want to talk about in this video is 2v2 and the importance of damage in 2v2, especially when it comes to deep dampening. See, in 2v2, when you're fighting someone at 50, 60, 70, I think we've even gotten a game to 80 or 90% dampening before, all of a sudden sheeps become way less important for two reasons that I'll get into, and then damage becomes way more important, and that PvE damage I was talking about that wasn't so relevant in, just not so relevant in general, becomes very relevant, especially when you're playing with a healer in 2v2. So all you guys out there, this video is for you that are trying to do 2v2, trying to push rating, or trying to just get your cap with a healer, and I want to give you guys the strategies that you need to do better in 2v2 as a Frost Mage. And that is really unbind polymorph. And I don't mean that literally, but kind of. Almost unbind polymorph. What you really need to focus on, especially in a map like Dalaran Arena, where everything is so close quarters, is just to get that blizzard down, get that slowdown, get that AoE pressure down, and just use your cooldowns on cooldown. Use Icy Veins when it comes up, use Orb when it comes up, use your stuff when it comes up, almost like PvE. So I'm almost going to counter myself in that other video and say in 2v2, in deep dampening, PvE damage does matter, and the sheeps are way less relevant. Now, does this mean to never sheep? No, look, as you can see right here, I sheep the Pally, we're doing a setup on the Boomkin. Dampening isn't set in too far yet, so there's almost like a cutoff. Once dampening gets to like 60%, sheeps go out the window. There's just no point, because if the guy is, say, 50% life, if you sheep him, he's gonna get the full, whereas if you just don't sheep him, he can't really top himself, and he can't top his partner. So you might as well just not sheep him, let him go and really just continue to do PvE damage. Continue to have those blizzards down. And those are the two reasons that I talked about earlier that makes sheeping bad. One, it heals the guy. It literally heals him, right? So when dampening is setting in, the last thing you want to do is heal your enemy. And as stupid as that sounds, it's like, yeah, you're healing your enemy, but you're putting him in CC. It truly is healing him when he otherwise couldn't heal himself. And then the second reason is, if you're wasting time trying to get a sheep or just casting the sheep, that's less damage output. So for those two reasons, as you get into deeper and deeper dampening, when you're playing with a healer DPS in 2v2, focus on the damage, guys. Forget about the CC. And the reason I kind of made this video, not to pick on anyone, but I was playing with one of my viewers, or one of my subs the other day, and he's a Frost Mage, and in the game, the #1 mistake that I saw him do that I kind of pointed out to him was he was going for so much sheeps. He was going for so much CC because that is the correct thing to do in like a 3v3 situation or a double DPS2 situation. But when you're playing with a healer, you're wasting your time trying to get all that CC and trying to get the sheeps instead of just going for consistent pressure, line of sighting, putting the blizzards down, hitting both targets, and really just rotting both of the players instead of going for sheep and then bursting, going for sheep and then bursting. While that can still be okay sometimes in earlier in the match, if you want to end the match sooner, or even later in the match, you can say, okay, I have Icy Veins Orb, do you have a Hodge, and kind of set up these kills, but not at the expense of doing less DPS over the long run of the fight, right? If you have to wait 2 seconds for his Hodge, fine. If you have to wait 30 seconds for his Hodge, just do your damage, and then next Hodge, you'll have more cooldowns to do damage into that. So I guess the point of this video is, in 2v2 dampening, PvE DPS does matter, and I just really wanted to make that distinction because it's been on my mind since I made that other video saying DPS doesn't matter. And I guess in another situation where DPS matters is if you're playing with something like a UA Warlock in 3v3, where you're going to take the game to dampening, you're going to be triple dotting, your Warlock is, and you're going to not really be sheeping that much because it removes the dots anyway, then your damage is very relevant. Your overall damage number at the game is relevant. However, you know, in 3v3 it still kind of stands true that your setups are what's going to land the kill. If you don't have a setup ever, the game's either going to go, one, way longer than it should be because you could have finished it way sooner, or two, you're actually going to lose the game because you know, passed up a kill opportunity. So now that I got that out of the way, kind of talking about my point in this video and countering my points in other videos, I'll talk about this game a little bit. So, have 5 icicles here. I am playing Glacial Spikes. When I use Ice Lance, the icicles aren't, you know, fading away or anything. I have a Glacial Spike available and ready for use. By the way, I think a day or two ago, Comet Storm was bugged. It was doing no damage. I believe it's fixed now, so thumbs up to that. Thank you, Warcraft devs. I get a full sheep on the Paladin, but as you can see, I literally just cast a Blizzard to break my own sheep. Like, the sheep wasn't really necessary at all right there. I'd much rather just have the Blizzard down and have that AoE pressure, an orb on both of them, than to have that full sheep lane because dampening is so deep in this game. As you can see, every orb and every spike that I try to do, I try to make sure they're stacked. And same thing with every Ice Lance. I really try to make sure they're stacked so that all of my damage is cleave damage. Because at the end of the day, the more damage I'm doing, the more they have to heal through, the faster they're going to go and it's just overall better. So before I orb, I try to get them to stack up, which means running on top of them and really just playing on top of each other. This is such an insane game, especially. It gets kind of like a little nail biter here at the end. They're both getting low. We're both getting low. I go into my ice block. I come out of the block. My Pally's pretty much They're still both hovering at about 50% life, and I have my Icy Veins in, a little over a minute now. So once that Icy Veins comes back up, I can do a pretty decent burst on these guys. I do get cycloned up. My Pally is crossing the map to somehow, some way survive. I get recloned up here by their Druid. Entangling Roots go off into a beam. My Pally dispels me, trying to get back to another pillar. On this map, guys, I do not want to play out in the open. I want to play on a box, keep a Blizzard down on the box so they're just very slow, kind of waddling around the pillar and can't really make much use of their classes at all. And I want to, if I'm not be in the open. If I'm in the open, then they can easily run out of my Blizzards, easily spread apart so they don't get cleaved by things like my Orb and my Ice Lance and my Glacial. But if we're on a pillar, it's very easy to land double Glacial Spikes, double Ice Lances, make sure that both of them are hit by my Orb, and it's just much, much better. So on a map like Gallant Arena, guys, hug the pillar, which is very counterintuitive because in the past, leaving the pillar, going out in the open is kind of the general strategy mages want, because I'm a mage, I don't like a pillar, right? Because they're just going to line of sight and instant cast me to death. But with this new type of playstyle where slows are very, very important and cleave damage is very, very important, you want to do that. So I get the Icy Veins Orb there, Pally Trinkets, I get a double Glacial Spike on the Pally and the Druid, which is freaking awesome. Pally gets so low here, I get cloned up, trying to get anything I can off on this Pally, get that Ebon Bolt blink around the corner, and boom, Pally goes down. But the game's not over yet, guys. I think dampening's about at 80-90%, so my Pally is almost dead, and he zoom. And if my Pally dies, I'm not going to win in this 1v1. My Pally has a sliver of HP left. The Boomkin's getting super, super low. Pally's at 5% life, 3% life, and not much I can do to save him. It goes to a 1v1, and we take out the Boomkin. Pretty crazy, epic finish right there to finish the game off. There's the damage breakdown if you guys want to take a look. I'm a little bit lower than that Boomkin, but all the slows that I provided with the, you know, little extra kicks and things like that kind of made it worth it. So freaking epically close game there. I think this is a good map for us, like I said, because it's a smaller box. But I hope this video helps you guys kind of understand what you should be doing in a 2v2 match with a healer. Not really going for those sheep setups as much as just getting that damage out, especially as the game goes on to dampening. Guys, if this video helped you, give it a thumbs up. If it didn't, thumbs it down. Talk to me in the comments about what you guys want to see for next time, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!